In 2021, I made the decision to move to Spain, and it seemed impossible. It seemed absolutely impossible at first, and it was extremely scary. I was coming from the United States. I didn't know any Spanish. I knew nothing about the city or country, and I didn't have any friends in the place that I was going. But I was working a job in the United States at the time, and it started to get to that point where it was just crippling. It was just crippling for me to go to work every day and do this thing. I was working in backstock, so it was like, it was just really isolating. I was like fiddling with, cardboard boxes all day and cutting stuff up. So it was crippling. It was crippling, man. And I started researching ways that I could travel abroad and switch things up a little bit. And I found out pretty quickly that I could teach English in Spain and get paid a livable wage there. And I started thinking about, my time when I studied abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark, and I spent 6 weeks there for a summer. And that opened up a lot of doors for me. So it gave me that sliver of possibility of maybe I could do something else like that. So I researched, a little bit more about living in Spain, teaching English, getting paid a livable wage. And I thought, okay, I could live in Spain maybe, teach English, learn Spanish, and sort of start from zero in a way. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds kind of different, right? Sounds kind of adventurous. So that definitely sparked something in me. And I committed to that process pretty quickly. And I made that decision to do it. And for the previous 23, 24 years of my life there, I was living in the United States, and doing this thing seemed impossible. It seemed pretty far-fetched. And I remember, over the next 9 months there, after making that decision, gathering my paperwork, gathering my things, sort of getting mentally prepared to do this. It just seemed impossible. It seemed like something was going to fall through the whole time. It really did. And I just wanted to get to Spain. I just wanted to get there so I could be in Spain. I remember entering the airport in the United States to leave the US and go to Spain. And I just thought for sure something was going to happen. Something was going to go wrong. Something with my paperwork wasn't going to be correct. And I wasn't going to be able to do that thing. But I stayed with it. And I stayed on it. And it seemed impossible the whole way. But I ended up getting there. And not even to mention, the next 2 years of living in Spain was about learning Spanish, building a new social circle, starting from zero in that way, and essentially building a new life for myself there. So, a different experience there, to say the least. So why am I telling you all this? Well, looking back on it now, doesn't seem impossible. Looking back at it now, I can tell you it wasn't impossible. And it's actually very doable. There's those certain impossible things that enter your mind that scare you. And you label them as impossible. So you discard those things, right? And looking back at my experience in Spain now, living there for 2 years, I can tell you I can tell myself, firstly, that it is possible. It is very doable. And I can do that now. But that's only looking back at it, right? Because when you do enough things that seem impossible at one point, eventually nothing seems to be impossible. And those impossible things that enter your mind seem doable. But you just have to do the first impossible thing. You just have to do the first impossible thing. Then you start to understand that the impossible things are just about how much thought, energy, and persistence that you're willing to put towards it. Because I can pretty much assure you right now, you don't want to do all of the impossible things, right? But there's a couple things that enter your mind that seem scary, that seem far-fetched for you, that you can put your energy, you can put your persistence towards. And when you just do the first one, when you just do the first thing that seems impossible for you, no matter how long it takes, you then create this mental template for yourself. You create this blueprint in a way in your mind where you did that thing. So now the other things seem more doable, right? But you have to do that first one. You have to do the first one to create the initial template for yourself. Then, when the next things come up, when you do the first one, you say, okay, wow, and you feel the conviction that comes from that. You take it to the next thing, and you have that mental template that is filled with, that is made of persistence, consistency, conviction. But it's starting with that one thing that seems impossible, that seems far-fetched, but that you strongly desire. It's about putting your mental power towards that for as long as it takes. It's about putting your energy towards that, no matter how long it takes. That's where you create that mental template for yourself that you can then take and use for future things.